Jump right on in. Well, thank you again, Cassandra, for hanging back for the podcast after the show of the podcast,
Absolutely.
because we have the conversation still going. How as women of color being in a business world, the struggles that we have to navigate through just being a woman of color, and the differences in culture, and how we have to make sure that sometimes we have to code switch, and code switching can really work on your mind. Like, it can be a process. You got to code switch when you go in the office. You got to code switch when you're on a call, and then you're living two lives.
Yes,
So,
yes,
and that
yes,
can have an impact,
simultaneously.
I'm sure. And could you share with us a little bit about what you think about code switching and how it has an impact on our mental health?
Yes. I mean, as you said too, Edna, it creates a different identity, right? So that can disconnect someone from themselves where they're just like, who is me?
Right.
Right? What am I doing this for? Like once we start disconnecting from ourselves, we begin to doubt and question so many things that don't belong to us because we're trying to have a sense of belonging,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the reality is, I mean, especially in the corporate world, you want a promotion,
Right.
right?
You're
So
trying to
unfortunately,
show up that way so you can be valued, seen, and heard. That's what we want.
exactly, exactly. But code switching makes you disconnect from yourself. So you're not even your best self
Right.
to access that promotion.
Right.
Right now, you're just somebody else trying to navigate. Okay, am I doing this right? Or what do they think of me? Like it just really puts you in the mind of someone else, which is anxiety provoking in itself. It's
Mm-hmm.
burnout, it's
Mm-hmm.
stress, it's so many things that disconnect you from, okay, this is my truth,
Yeah.
right? This is what I feel comfortable in. This is what my foundation is. Um, I did a podcast during Black History Month
Mm-hmm.
this past February,
Mm-hmm.
and it was about, it was a guide of navigating like the corporate world for Black professionals in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And we spoke about hair. Right. Hair is right. I love
Like,
the
it's
natural
curly
beauty.
today, but some days it might be straight, depending
Ex-
on. And when I was early in my 20s and 30s, it was always straight. I never wore my hair curly
Ah,
like this.
yes. Yes. Because even that, Edna, we spoke about the history, the
Yeah.
timeline of even how curls
Right.
have been accepted, even though that's what we were born with.
Right. Why would we have to hide it? So,
Yes.
it's deep.
It's deep. It is deep. It is more than we can say today. That is for
Exactly.
sure.
In the segment that we have, but we're gonna have another show. We got
Yeah.
to.
Got to. It's on our agenda. Absolutely. It's a
Yes,
part of our mission.
it is. It's part of, and why we connected. It's why part of why we
Exactly.
connected. Yes.
Exactly. So it's challenging. Like I really do feel it because that's what I went through,
Hmm.
right? As much as I love my natural hair, I felt like I couldn't really embrace it until I started my own practice.
Right. Right.
Right. Before then, I'm just like, is this professional?
Right.
Right? Is this okay? Am I comfortable wearing my fro out, knowing
Right.
I'm about to go into an office building, have this meeting? Like it just became something that I was so heightened and aware about. Like, okay, I gotta fix
Right. Right.
my hair, make sure there's a hairstyle to it and not just a fro. Right. And it's time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
It's draining to have to think about, yes, the code switching of a parent, but even in speech,
Right.
right?
Right.
Sometimes you just want to say, what's going on? Like,
Right.
how are you? But then you got to be like, okay, what's going on?
Right.
Right?
All
How,
prestigious and everything.
how
Just don't
prestigious.
want to show up. You can't be your authentic self. Say, "Hey, girl, what's up?" You can't do that, right?
Right,
I think
right.
and I have to say that I remember having a black supervisor, female supervisor, and ended up being friends. I mean, really good friends. But we would be in a room together, and we would be talking like you and I talking, and then we knew
Yeah,
what we needed to do when we went into the larger meeting. We knew how to code
right.
switch. I mean, we went right into the mold, and we would always
Yeah.
laugh about it. It's like, we had to do what we had to do. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
completely a different
true.
person. So you're right. You're living two worlds. You're living in two worlds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not so much about the way we speak and that kind of thing. It's just the way we're perceived. I think that's the
Mm,
challenge, you know, the
yeah.
perception of, because the media and all of those things, you now have to make sure that you're not perceived that way. So you work even harder to be really
Yes.
ultra professional, to make sure
Yeah.
that people take you seriously, that they want you,
Yeah.
you know, you want to be valued, seen, and heard. So you got to come out ultra professional.
Yes, yes. And that is a great point too, is and especially as Black women as well, it's like there's that ultra, because now we're working with different identity pieces,
Yes. And don't forget the
right?
black tax. We got that on top of it too. It's like
It's,
all that.
it's all of it, Edna. It's hard. And I think just acknowledging that it's hard and it's real. I know sometimes when it's done in isolation, right? Like if you're the only Black person. So
Yeah,
now
it can't be
like an
done in isolation yet. That'll mess with your
ultra,
mental
you gotta
even more. It's like a psychological warfare
exactly,
going on all the time. And you're fighting off the
exactly,
doubt and the lack of confidence and the, you know, all of those things bubble up.
exactly. So knowing that it's not all in your head,
It,
already helps to deal with it.
that is so
Sorry?
real. I remember too, crazy. Same place I was working at with the black supervisor, but there was someone in diversity, equity, inclusion, and there was some struggles going on, you know, and I went and of course I didn't have the same supervisor at that point. My supervisor had changed. We didn't see the same, we
Mm,
weren't on the same page with my career. So we didn't always see eye to eye on what Edna was doing. So I went to talk with him.
right.
And when before I could even sit down and he closed the door, he looked at me and said, "You ain't crazy."
Mm,
He knew what I was going to say. He was a black man. He knew exactly what was going to come out of my mouth. I didn't even say anything, but he knew I was coming to the diversity, equity, inclusion office to have a discussion. But he
yeah,
said that to me, and I recognized that he already knew. So it's not a it may be kind of quietly kept, but it's definitely something that's happening that every person of color is aware of.
every, unfortunately,
Yeah.
but it is true, like, yeah, you're not crazy. Your intuition is speaking to you for a reason,
Right.
right? You're having sleepless nights for a reason. You're stressing about like identity concerns for a
Yeah.
reason.
That's a real thing. But I appreciate you so much being able to kind of share with us from a perspective, a doctor's perspective of what that looks like and how that really can affect an individual doing this code switching, because
Yeah,
it does mess with your mental, and it does, you know, women do
absolutely.
struggle with it. And this whole podcast that I am looking at for women of color, black women, is to help the generation coming up behind us, next gen, the next gen. This
Yeah,
is for them. We have
yeah,
lived it. We have had lived experiences and we walked it out. So now everyone on the show is basically going to pour into the next gen. So this is for them, you know, so we can
yeah.
thrive.
Oh, that's beautiful. All of you are welcome. Like this is a safe space.
Stay
I'm speaking for
space.
you and us.
All of us. And you know, they say, I'm ministering to you, I'm ministering to myself. That's what it's about.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So thanks again, Cassandra, for being on the show, for taking the extra
Thank
time
you.
beyond the show to share some more wisdom and some experiences.
Thank you, Edna. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.